that's kind of standing in front of us right now as we get ready to start SEC play. We, Auburn, are 0-14 in our last 14 road SEC openers. I think it's been 1984 was the last time we were able to open up and win on the road. That's a long time. Vanderbilt, I think, has won 9 in a row against us, and last time Auburn won at Memorial was in 2000, and Damian Fishback was on that team. We visited about that during the telecast on Saturday. So, but this is part of the journey of where we're starting from, and I got asked a question on the teleconference about, going back to Memorial Gymnasium and playing in Vanderbilt and now coaching at Auburn. We're just trying to work our way off the bottom is what we're trying to do. And I want to try to instill in my team a desire to continue to try to earn respect. You've got to do it before you can have it. And we don't have it, and we don't deserve it, and we haven't earned it yet. But the opportunities are there. The other math that's difficult for us is Vanderbilt offensively is really, really good. Kevin is one of the best coaches I've ever gone up against, and they run great stuff and hard to guard stuff. And when I was at Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Florida, Kentucky were probably the 3 best teams in the SEC at that time, and also the 3 most talented teams in the league. You look back at Kevin's teams while I was there. He had a bunch of pros, and guys got better, and we had some great games. Since I left and got into working for ESPN, the last couple of years, his teams haven't been as talented. I used to look at it and say, now why wasn't I at Tennessee playing against those teams as opposed to, Taylor and Festus Ezeli and all those guys. So, but he went out last year and got himself a top 25 recruiting class to go along with some guys that are, a pretty good group of sophomores and a couple of fifth-year seniors. He's got a really good roster, and they're big. They're big. They're probably the 2nd biggest team in the league behind Kentucky, and we're obviously not very big. And so they'll have some advantages on the inside as far as their size and their length. So makes you a better coach when you go up against a great coach, because he'll challenge everything we do.
What kind of emotions are you anticipating in that first SEC game? Just getting back into that arena like you do know so well.
Yeah.
Now, what are you anticipating there?
We've had so many battles at Vanderbilt and very big games that were meaningful as far as SEC East championships and things like that. I'm proud of the 3 wins we got up there because that's a hard place. If you look at, and I don't know what the math says, but there probably aren't many SEC coaches that have won there 3 times. And we lost up there, #1 in the country. And boy, just some great games.
Bruce, do you SEC time? Do you does the way you prepare change at all than when you're playing non-conference games?
It doesn't, and that's one of the things that I like about my teams as we try to become more consistent. Is I'll prepare as hard for the West Alabama exhibition game as I will for Vanderbilt, and my players will see no difference in my intensity, my focus, my passion. You will see differences in theirs because they're young, and that's what we try to do, is not have those kind of letdowns, but try to keep a very, very similar routine. Now what does happen sometimes in conference play is that semester starts up and we start to mix books and basketball again. And it can be challenging, for the players as we have, practices almost every day and a couple games a week. But we're just trying to, again, build on that foundation. What has Vanderbilt seen? What have we shown them? What have we done so far? And how can we continue to add dimensions and counters and things that'll help us be successful as we go into league play?
How valuable is it that you've been able to build some momentum and go into the league play? I'm guessing feeling pretty good about yourselves.
Yeah, I think it's a positive thing in the sense that our team has got to be a little bit more confident, having 11 scholarship players available to us, having won 5 in a row, and having beaten some good teams and feeling prepared. Again, we've talked about even this first one. I just don't want us to go up there and be overwhelmed. Now listen, 2 years ago, I had a Tennessee team that was 1 game from the Final Four. And after the first, I want to say 15 minutes of basketball, the score was 30-10, Vandy. And that club that I had that was down 20 was a game from the Final Four. That place and that team can't overwhelm you, you know. I'm not anticipating that, nor am I planning for that, nor that would I expect to see. But I just don't. I don't think our guys will be overwhelmed because they're not prepared.
Can you talk about the importance of having Taj back out there, because he's played a lot of SEC ball already?
Well, Taj has got some SEC experience, and we're a much better team defensively with Taj in the game. We can put better pressure on the ball, so he was missed against North Alabama. That was sort of he was dressed and he was available, but his shoulder had come out during practice some weeks prior, and there was some thought to holding him out of Middle Tennessee, but I thought we needed him to win. And he played limited minutes against Middle, 15 I believe, did not score. And the thought was by choice to hold him out against North Alabama, thinking we could win without him. And about 10 minutes in the first half, I told him to go down the end of the bench and get with that trainer and at least get that thing warmed up a little bit. And thought about putting him in there at halftime, but just resisted the urge. So yes, Taj means a lot to our team.
How do you guys who haven't played in SEC games before, and I guess whatever the sport, the intensity level tends to rise when you start playing conference games. How do you prepare them for how it's going to be different?
You really can't prepare them for that. But I mean, look, everybody's played in conference games, and they all know the difference. Whether it's a high school conference game or a junior college conference game or a game in the MAC for Antoine Mason. So they know the stakes are higher, and they know we're all playing for a championship, and so what you do watch for, Philip, is to see who steps up, who's got something in there that we've not seen yet, that the level of the competition, that the moment, it brings it out in them as an athlete, and that's what you look for, and that's what I'm anxious to see. What kind of a step up do we have in our game?
Is this Vanderbilt team any different from ones you've faced in the past? How are they different?
Yeah.
What have you noticed?
They're younger. It's a very young team, what does that mean? It tends to mean that they will play better at home than they will on the road, more so than an experienced team. That doesn't matter here because we're playing them at Vanderbilt. So the youth really shouldn't be a factor. Now, if they were coming to Auburn Arena, youth could be a factor. They've always been big. I mean, Kevin's always been big, and athletic, and long. I mean, great size in their guards, and so on and so forth. So, from that standpoint, they're similar. They don't run as much. When Kevin first started coaching, they looked a lot like Gene Katie's teams because that's who he coached for, and then evolved a little bit, and then his teams began to run a little bit of Princeton stuff because that was good and it fit the student athletes that were at Vanderbilt. And then as he got better players, he became more pro style. And so Kevin's teams, and what makes him such a good coach is he's not running the same stuff that he ran when I coached against him at Tennessee. There's a lot of stuff that he's running now that's different.
And this is the first part of the SEC schedule. When you look at Trayvon, is that a guy you hope to maybe get good 10 minutes out of? And where do you want that to be, say, midway through the SEC season?
Players will determine that. They truly will. And so, for example, I gave it the other night, Malcolm Canada is playing more minutes. I didn't decide to play him more minutes. Malcolm's playing well, and he's earned those minutes. So right now, Trayvon's playing 10 or 12 minutes. There could be foul trouble that will dictate him playing more, but as far as his role right now, that's what he's earned. Would I like him to, would I like him to play more? I'd like them all to play more, but my job is to evaluate and then let those guys make the decisions who's playing and who's not playing.
Bruce, does this season, at this point, now you kind of through the first part of it, can you kind of evaluate where you were, where you are now?
Yeah.
Is it, do you feel good about that, about how far you've come?
We all look at the schedule and kind of, in our mind, figure out, well, what do you think we could be? Where do you think it could be? And given the reality of where we were when we got here, and then after we built the really difficult schedule that we built, I've talked about the fact that this first year we're trying to avoid a disaster. That's what we're trying to do. And we're still got 18 games left to try to avoid a disaster. Because as I looked at the schedule and looked at our team and looked at me and my ability, we could have been really disappointed. We've not been really disappointing yet. Would I have liked to have gotten Texas Tech at Texas Tech? Yes. Would I have liked to have been more competitive at Colorado and Clemson? Sure. Would I have liked to have avoided the upset to Coastal Carolina? Yeah, but Coastal Carolina's a really good team. So could there have been another game or two out there that we would have liked to have thought we could win? Yes. There could have been a couple games out there we won we could have lost. I would say that our RPI right now is probably as good as I could have hoped it would be. I believe we're at 105, or it just changes. It changes hourly, based on how everybody else does. But I mean, we're hovering really near 100. Last week we're at 92, and so that's pretty good. That's probably a little better than I would have expected as far as that kind of a number this early in the season. Now we'll see. Again, a lot of work to be done. So,
Bruce, kind of on that note, you said in your first press conference and even in various ones since, this was kind of the point you wanted to see certain things from your team, beginning SEC play. You were building to this point. Have you seen what you wanted to see, from the players, from the team, in all aspects, not just maybe an RPI, but just from the players?
I think we've been a little, yes, we've been a little inconsistent, and that's that most teams are, but I'd like for this team to be more consistent. I think we've carved out an identity for ourselves in our half-court defense, and so it's been good. It'll be challenged on Tuesday night. I'm not happy with our full-court pressure at all. It's not enough of a factor, and it's way behind what I'd hoped it could be. And probably our half-court offense is probably slightly behind also. But from a standpoint of the chemistry, from a standpoint of their work ethic, their preparation, I'd say I'm pleased with where this team is at. I'm pleased with how they're getting along. You guys know that so much of what we do is off the court. I got asked so many times about professional basketball, and coaching the pros is all about the X's and O's, and coaching in college is so much more involving stuff off the court, the academics, the community service, the growth and development, the spiritual, and those are areas where we've made a lot of progress. We had a great semester academically. We've had 4 players graduate since May. And that's taken a lot of work. Dr. Waters and his team have done an amazing job. We've had to hand out some discipline. We've had to make some roster adjustments. And, you know, who knows what can happen tomorrow, because that's the business that we're in. But, you know, just as soon as you say it, you know, you worry about it. But our team has done a really good job in everything off the court. I'd say that's ahead of schedule. Obviously, the attendance in the month of December, way beyond my expectations. And now it happened because Auburn family responded. You know, it happened because this place hasn't seen competitive basketball in a while, and it deserves it. Auburn deserves it, and so that's what I'm working toward trying to create.
What do you want more? How's Jordan Granger doing?
Practiced yesterday, didn't go through a lot of contact, is getting treatment, a combination of a bone bruise and a tight hamstring and some knee pain. He's had that a little bit before, but I would say he's likely to play, but I don't know yet how effectively.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.